Hey, it's Matt with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Wednesday. It's August 14th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and it was really after about 10 o'clock today, it was just really kind of slow. Not much happening. There was one pretty good move right here on a long trap, um, and then I took this failed break lower, and then that was pretty much it for me for the day. Um, I just had enough. There was some pretty good, an opportunity to make some money here early if you caught any of these shorts here. But it just, it got slow after that, and you just had to be real patient. And this is what really confuses people. And if you don't realize that it's a range and all you can do is buy the lows or sell the highs, then you're pretty much in trouble. So you'll get whipsawed back and forth. So you got to be able to recognize the ranges when they occur. So, okay, sorry I had an interruption there, but let's finish this. It really got kind of slow after 10 o'clock. We went into this range and then we kind of dropped down into another range. And this one kind of moved up over time, but that's where I originally had it down here. Um, this is supposed to be blue, not red. Not sure why I got it in red, but I do. But anyway, let's talk about the trades that I saw. And this was my last trade. There was actually another failed second entry short here that would have worked. And after that, it's just not much happening. Another failed second entry short that would have worked. But it's getting risky going long this high, this high with all these matching highs here. But that's still, it's pretty good. It's a trap and a second entry long. It's a failed second entry short that turns into a second entry long with a nice bullish candle. And you can see it would have been a nice trade. So, but let's talk about what we did see today. The first trade I saw was right here that I liked. I just kind of sat here. I missed this right here. You might have considered, going long right here if you were trading in. When I came in, we were right in here. This had already triggered. Um, there's definitely a bunch of matching lows there. Definitely was probably worth taking if you saw that, if you were here. We didn't really get any kind of trap here or anything, and it just went straight on up. And so it was looking like an uptrend to me at that point. So I was kind of looking for longs, and this scared me a little bit. But then we had two legs down. You didn't want to enter here. It wasn't a good entry. But when we bounced there again, that was a good entry. And I really thought there was a chance we might make another leg up. It was good for a scalp. And then you get a failed second entry short, so a chance to go long again. And this one might have even shaken you out. Let me get that out of the way because you can see it. It backed up a little bit there. I actually used a limit order on this one, and if you did, you might have gotten out, but if you didn't, it backed up on you a little bit, but it ended up working. So that's the kind that people get whipsawed on. But, once it's backed up, you should have realized, hey, this is a trading range. And, I might better take what it'll give me if you can't get out, depending on where your entry was. But it's a failed second entry short in what looks kind of like an uptrend at that point. We weren't quite back to this rank, to this trade, to this line, but you kind of got a line going up through there too, and you can see that holding right there. And I was kind of looking at that, so I wasn't I wasn't 100% sure if this was a trading range or if we were going to go higher, but I really was leaning towards the upside after that move right there. And so that kept me to the long side. But when we came up here again and broke higher above these highs and turned down, now you got a failed second entry long there. Pull back first entry, pull back second entry. And so it's a little bit risky to go short here because the trend was looking like it was up. But you really didn't want to go long there, that's for sure. And so I drew this in green, but you see it turned out to be there's plenty of room to get out before getting back to here or the line. That's where I had it drawn originally, right off of that low in those first closes there. And you can see it bounce there. It never triggered. I probably would have gone long if it had triggered there, but it didn't. And I was a little nervous about going long here. I wanted to wait on a second entry, and Of course, it worked real easily. And then you got another trap here. Um, there was actually a failed, it looked like it was going to be a failed second entry short. It broke higher, but you had to be careful here. And you know, and I was tempted to take that, but that's not a very good setup bar there. And then this one ends up closing with that big stem. And so now you got to be thinking, hey, we might have a downtrend here. And we may be headed down to here or even lower. And so once it broke higher and failed again, there was a nice short right there. And you might have considered taking that second entry, but I didn't like that one. I thought it was better to wait for that little trap right there and take the second entry off the high rather than coming off the lows. And man, that one took off like a rocket. And then you had notice you got a high there, first entry, pullback. So there's a failed second entry long there. It's kind of a breakout pullback short. We weren't down to the lower side of this trend channel line. But because of the trap, I felt like it was worth taking it, even though the line was fairly close. But you can see we just went right on through it, and then we made a measured move out the other side before turning down and testing these lows again. So there's a second entry short here. I didn't really like this one. We overshot here. We weren't back to the trend line. It would have worked. It is a two-legged pullback to the EMA. It's testing this breakout area again across here. It failed. So if you saw that and took it, it was a little aggressive in my opinion, because that's not even really a good setup bar. But you can see it was good for a scalp. And then, you know, we got in here, and then I wasn't really sure in here. We got a double bottom, but we're finding all this resistance here. We haven't broke this trend line. We finally broke it right here. And, you know, I like this for a trap. You tried to go short once, you went up here and you broke just a little bit higher, and you tried to go short again. And this is one I used a limit order though, because that's a horrible looking bar. And really I might have even should have drawn that one in green, but we're looking for a retest. And it's the first break. That's a pretty obvious trend channel. We're looking for a retest. There's plenty of room to scalp out. So I liked using the limit order there, and you could have gotten filled all the way back up here to that close. And that's generally what I'll look at if I'm looking at that. It's amazing how it comes back to those same places where the closes are, and then it shoots straight down. Fairly easy scalp. You might have even gone short right there, but by that time you got just a lot of overlap, and I didn't really like that one. It would have worked. And I wanted to buy this bounce right here because it's, you know, now you got three bounces here, and look at all the stems down here. But at the same time, we've still got this trend line here, so I was afraid it might turn down and make a new low. But when it turned back up right there, I like that second entry long off the low. You got your first leg up, pull back second leg. There's plenty of room before these highs up here. At that point, you would have had this up here somewhere. And there's plenty of room to get out. Again, it kind of did like it did up here earlier. It looked like it was going to fail right here, but it moves on, and you get your easy, you know, you end up getting a scalp out of it. I'll later move that down to there. You get more touches there. And then you got a new high here. Notice first entry, pull back, second entry, it fails. So I like that trade a lot. It's one of those traps. It's up near the highs. Figure you're going to ride it to at least the lows, and boy, it just shoots right on through there. And then I like this for, on a bigger picture, this is a one leg pull back and a second leg, but it's a failed break below. This was some pretty strong support across here. And now you got your new low after the, you know, your retest with a new low. So I liked going long right there. It took it a minute to get going, easy scalp, and then I called it a day. So that's what I saw up until about 12:30. And then it's just, you know, the only thing you could do here is sell the highs or buy the lows. And you can see that. And this one would have failed on you right here. But by the time that triggered, you could see there's so much overlap there. That was risky. And definitely could have taken this trap, I think, to the long side. It's questionable whether you would have gotten out before here. But I probably would have tried to use a limit order there. And I think it would have worked. You can see the big stem there. And you could have ridden that on up, and then I don't see anything else. So it just was kind of a slow, choppy, you know, tight range kind of day, and we're just jumping around between, you know, it looked like a nice trend down for a while, and then it went in that range and it dropped a little lower and just went into another range. And you can see the high side of that bigger range is still holding right there when it comes back up. So, but that's what I saw today. I do want to say something. Yesterday, some people was, you know, this is the way I usually do this. Let's go back to yesterday, early on. Somebody asked me why I went short. I think right here, you know, they said it looks like a range, but this doesn't look like a range to me. There's some stronger support. Maybe could say there's some stronger support right across this area right here, and maybe even right there. You get the most touches with closes right about there. And this person was wanting to know why I went short right here. You know, wasn't I concerned about the support, but it's really, you know, way down here. And even without it being down there, there's almost enough room to scalp out just before getting to that low. And this is, notice how we're making lower highs and lower lows. That's a for sure downtrend. And this one's right off that trend line down through there. I mean, that's a perfect setup. That's what you want to see. I mean, that's what we're looking for. Pullbacks to the trend line with a nice reversal type bar, a nice trend bar in our direction that I like to call it. And you can see we hadn't even touched this line here yet. Even if you drew it down here, you could have drawn it here, but I'm thinking it's right along through there. In the end, it is right down here. We had a little bit of overshoot, but we're not getting there. And there's still room, even if you were using that as the lows, there's still room to scalp out here. And you can see, so that's why I was, you know, what the key is. Now, if I would have been entering right here, I would have been real suspect, maybe because this low is so close, you don't have room to scalp out. Then that's when you're worried about it. But if you're in a downtrend and you get a setup coming off this trend line, that's where that's where all the moves happen, is off the trend line. Look, your best two moves were there and there where the trend line is. And you could have gotten that off these lows down here. Even if you drew it way up here, you still should have had that. And you just drag it up to the top side, just like so. And so that's what you're really looking for. You're looking for a reason to get short in a downtrend off the trend line, or maybe the EMA, but usually the trend lines are the good ones. So this is what I was waiting on, prices to come back to this, to test it and then give me a setup. And you really had a first entry, and there's a little bit of pullback there. Notice those matching lows. So that's a second entry there. Now you're getting a little tighter, but in a downtrend like that, with the real stronger support kind of being down here, or maybe even way down here, you got plenty of room. So, I mean, but to me, you know, this doesn't look like a trading range kind of day. Usually a trading range, you'll have an overnight low down here and an overnight high. The EMA will be kind of flat and prices will be on both sides. But, I mean, by the time we got to here, this is clearly working down. And so you got to be able to spot that stuff. So hopefully that makes sense to you. But see if there's anything else I want to talk about maybe. I think that's it. But anyway, I'm going to wrap it up then. This is Mac with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.